A water heater is one of the most important appliances in your home. Unfortunately, most people don't even think about their water heater until there's a problem. A typical tank-type water heater might last from 6 to 12 years. To find out how old your water heater is, you look for the date that it was manufactured on a label that looks like this. Or, better yet, look for a handwritten installation date. Most electric water heaters have two heating elements like this. They're located at the bottom and at the top of the tank. As electricity passes through the element, it heats up the water inside the tank. Replacing an electric water heater doesn't require any venting or gas connections, but it's still a good idea to work with a licensed plumber. The first step is to check the labels on the old tank to determine the size and energy specifications of the new unit. Before buying a new water heater, be sure to check your local plumbing and building codes and make sure the spacer on the tank will be adequate. Turn off the power to the water heater at the main circuit breaker or the fuse box, and use a non-contact voltage tester to ensure that the power is off. Disconnect the conductors. Cap them temporarily. And remove the metal-clad cable from the water heater. Then, turn on the nearest hot water faucet and run it until the water is cool. Because the water heater is shut off, the hot water in the tank will be replaced by cold water, making it easier and safer to drain the tank. Once the water runs cool, leave that faucet open and turn off the cold water supply that's located at the top of the water heater. It's the closest shutoff valve. Attach a garden hose to the drain valve and empty the tank. If you don't have a floor drain, you may need to use buckets or a pump to remove all the water from the tank. On this installation, we decided it was a good time to replace the old shutoff valve. So we shut off the main water supply and drained the pipes. Now it's time to disconnect the hot and cold water connections to the heater. If your existing water heater has union connections at the top, you could just break those connections using a couple of wrenches. If the piping has been soldered into place, use a tubing cutter to cut the pipe. Here's a tip: clean the pipe with emery cloth before cutting the pipe. This will make it easy to prep for the solder connection later. And have a bucket handy in case there's any water left in the pipe. You may want to remove the overflow pipe from the temperature and pressure relief valve. You may be able to reinstall this pipe on the new unit. With a helper, remove the old tank. Keep in mind that sediment may have accumulated in the bottom of the tank and it may be very heavy. Check with your local sanitation or recycling company to dispose of the tank properly. Then, clean the floor and prepare for the new water heater. Depending on the installation location, you may want to install a drain pan like this under the new tank. If you plumb it to a floor drain, it could really prevent damage if the water heater ever leaks. Align the new unit with at least 6 inches of clearance on all sides and make sure to allow easy access to the thermostat controls. Be sure to follow the manufacturer's guidelines and local code requirements to ensure the location meets all clearances. Use a level and shims to level the water heater as needed. This is the most important safety device on any water heater. It's called a temperature and pressure relief valve, or T&P valve for short. It's designed to release water if it ever reaches more than 210 degrees. That's just below steam, or 150 pounds per square inch of pressure. If the thermostat on your water heater ever malfunctioned, this little valve could keep your tank from exploding. It's very important. If your water heater doesn't come with a new one, be sure to purchase one. And do not try to reuse the one from the old tank. If they're not already attached, install the hot and cold heat trap fittings to the tank. It's very important that these fittings are installed in the proper direction. Now it's time to reattach the hot and cold supply lines. Flexible braided stainless connectors like this may make the installation a little easier. But for this installation, we've made new soldered connections with copper pipe. It's a good idea to install a vacuum breaker on the cold water line to the tank. Once the water connections are made, fill the tank by opening the valve on the cold water line. You'll know that the tank is completely filled when water comes from the hot water side of a nearby faucet. Make sure to check for leaks. If you have any, you'll have to drain the water out of the piping and resolder or reconnect the fittings. Now you can make the electrical connections. Follow the manufacturer's instruction and make sure to connect the ground wire into the ground screw to ensure the heater is properly grounded. To adjust the thermostat, remove the access plate. The thermostat setting is in 10-degree increments and the recommended temperature is 120 degrees. If your water heater has two heating elements, make sure both thermostats are set to the same temperature. Finally, with all the connections made and the temperature set, you can restore the power by turning the circuit breaker back on. For a homeowner, replacing an electric water heater can be a big job, but when it's installed and maintained properly, it will keep you in hot water for many years.